Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make a granny triangle and how we can turn those granny triangles into a really cute, simple satchel to hold your phone, your credit card, or any other small item you want to carry around this season. For this project, you're going to need some yarn. I'm using 2 strands of about a number 3 weight yarn, so this is probably like a number 5 or a number 6 with them together, a nice chunky yarn. I'm using a wool that I hand dyed, as well as a strand of black wool. You'll also need a crochet hook. I'll be using a 4mm hook today. You'll also need some scissors, as well as a yarn needle to weave in your ends and to do a little bit of sewing. So gather your supplies and let's jump in. We're going to begin with a slip knot. From here, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. If you have stitch markers, this is a good time to use one. If you don't worry, it's not necessary. This just makes it easier to know where the center of our project is. So I'm going to slip a stitch marker over that chain 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch together to create a round. I'm going to slip stitch to the first chain we made. So 3 chains away from the hook, where that initial slip stitch is, I'm going to slip stitch this round together. I'm going to insert the hook into that chain stitch, yarn over with my yarn, and pull through both loops on the hook, just like that. And now you can see that stitch marker is marking the center of a donut, which will be the center round of our project. From here, we're going to work on round number 1. We're going to start with a chain of 2, chain 1, chain 2, and that chain 2 is going to represent a double crochet. Now we're going to put 2 more double crochets into the center of this donut. So pull apart until you can see a spot to stick your hook, yarn over, insert the hook into the center of that donut. It might be a little bit tight for the first couple stitches, but it'll sort of loosen itself up. Yarn over again and pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through 2 of those loops. Yarn over again, pull through the remaining 2 loops. There's a double crochet. So now our chain 2 acts as 1 double crochet, and then we have a second one here. We're going to put a third one into the same spot, and there we go. Now we have 3 double crochets into that center space. Now we're going to do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is going to make up our corner for our triangle. Now into the same space where we just did those double crochets, we're going to put 3 more double crochets. So yarn over, you can just pull your stitch marker and your stitches and you'll see the hole. Yarn over, insert into the hole, yarn over and pull up a loop. There's 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 of those loops. Now there's 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. And we're going to do that a total of 3 times. So there was 1. Here is number 2. And finally, number 3. Now we have 2 sections of 3 double crochets separated by a chain 4. Now we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then into that same spot, we're going to put another 3 double crochets. So this is going to make up one side of our triangle. And then here's the point. This will make up a second side of our triangle. This chain 4 will be the point. And now we're going to make up our third side with 3 more double crochets. There's 1 double crochet. There's 2. And I'm going to remove my stitch marker now because it's kind of getting in the way of me completing my stitches. And we don't need it because now it's easy to tell where the center of that round is. And there's my 3rd double crochet. And now you can see we've got our bottom of our triangle here, our 2 sides, and now we need a chain 4 to do our final corner. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we're going to slip stitch that round together at the top of the chain 2 we started the round with. There we go. You can pull through both, and now you can see we've got a tiny little triangle. And that's it for round 1. Now for round number 2, we're going to begin with a chain of 2. Chain 1, chain 2. And then we're going to turn the work. From here, we're going to be working into a corner. So we're going to start. This one is going to be the last stitch out of the group of 3. this first chain 2, and now we're going to work the corner. In the corner space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Then we'll do a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll put another 3 double crochets into the same spot. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. In each corner space, this is what we're going to be doing every time. In every corner space, there's going to be 3 double crochets, chain 4, 3 double crochets, and that creates our corner. From here, we're going to be double crocheting into our double crochet stitches. There's going to be 3 double crochets across at this point because we've got 3 double crochets in the previous row. Pull apart your stitches so you can see the tops of your stitch, then yarn over, insert the hook into the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we're going to do that across this row, which will be 3 stitches. So that was 1, here's 2, and there's number 3. And now we're back at a corner. And since we're at a corner, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 4, 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 3 more double crochets into the same space. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're working along a flat side again. We've finished the first corner, we worked across the flat side, and now we've got the second corner finished. So when we're working across the flat side, again, pull your stitches apart so you can see we've got a double crochet, a double crochet, and a double crochet. We'll put 1 double crochet in each of the stitches across the flat side. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Which brings us back to another corner. Again, at the corner, we're working into the large space left by the chain 4 in the previous round. And we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, followed by a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 3 more double crochets into that same space. 1, 2, and 3, which brings us back again to another flat side. So if you'll remember, we started the round with a chain of 2, and then we did 3 double crochets into that first corner space. So that chain of 2 is going to make up one of our flat row double crochet stitches here. So that means we only have 2 double crochets in this flat row to fill in. So I'm going to put a double crochet in the first stitch and a double crochet into the second stitch out of that group of 3. I'm going to try to, there we go. And now it's time to join the round. So I'm going to slip stitch at the top of that chain 2 in order to join my round. And that is it for round number 2. At this point, you can finally see the triangle shape getting a little bit more clean and a little bit more clear. You can see we've got these nice holes that are kind of decorative along the corners, and then the flat sides are getting larger as we go. What we're going to do for round number 3 is we're going to begin with a chain of 2. Chain 1, chain 2, and then we'll turn the work. Now that chain 2 is going to represent a double crochet. If you pull your stitches apart, you can see which stitch it is connected to here. So this first double crochet here is attached to the chain 2. So we're going to put our next double crochet into the next stitch beside it. So we'll just put a double crochet right there. And we're going to move across the row until we reach the corner. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, and 5. And now we're at another corner. At the corner, we're going to do what we've done for all of the other corners. We're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 4, 3 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3, followed by a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by 3 more double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And now we've made it to another flat side. From here, we're going to repeat what we've done for all of the flat sides. We're going to put 1 double crochet in each of the double crochet stitches all the way across until we make it back to a corner. For the rest of round number 3, it's going to be a repeat of that exact same process. We're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 4, 3 double crochets into each corner, and then we're going to put 1 double crochet into each double crochet stitch across each flat side. I'm going to zoom through the rest of round number 3 because it's exactly the same repeat, and I'll meet you at the end of the row to show you what we're going to do next to get ourselves up to round number 4. All right, I made it to the end of round number 3. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen such a dark yarn for this tutorial. Sorry if the visual is not great. I'm going to finish round number 3 by doing a slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 from the previous round. Then I'm going to start round number 4 with a chain of 2. Then I'm going to turn the work. This is our last round of double crochets, so this is actually such a quick project. I'm going to start with a double crochet into the next stitch, and then round number 4 is going to be the exact same as round number 3. I'm going to double crochet across the flat sides. In each of the corners, I'm going to do 3 double crochets, chain 4, 3 double crochets, and then on the flat sides, I'll just double crochet across. So I'll zoom through round 4. I'll meet you at the end of the round to show you what we're going to do next to round off these corners, round off this triangle before we start connecting it to make it into an adorable little satchel. I made it and it looks like I won at Yarn Chicken, which is awesome. I'm gonna finish my round here with a slip stitch, but you know what? I'm gonna do one more round, but I'm not gonna do it with this yarn because I am too close to losing at Yarn Chicken. So I'm going to bring in another color right now. I have this color, which I think I'm going to use for the strap. And it's got the black in it again, but it's got a different color that I did with natural dye. I'm going to slip stitch round 4 together with my original yarn that I was using, as well as the new color. I'll just use both pieces for my slip stitch. Oops, there we go. It'll be a little bit snug, but that's okay. And then I'll drop all of the tails and I'll just have my new color. And now for round number 5, I'm going to start with a chain of 1. And then I'm going to turn the work around. And I'm going to grab all those tails and hold them along the work. And I'm going to do a round of single crochets. For this round of single crochets, when I get to the corners where I have a chain 4, I'm going to do 6 single crochets into that space. So I will get to that corner first. I'm going to do single crochets across the flat side of the work. And I'm crocheting over my tails so I don't have to weave them in after the fact. And I'm just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across until I get to my chain 4 that makes up the corner. And I'll meet you at the corner to show you what I'm gonna do there. All right, here I am at the corner. And at this corner, I'm going to do 6 single crochets to get myself around that corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that'll fill in all that space of the corner and get us all the way around to the next flat side. And now at this point, I'll just single crochet across the row until I get to my next corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the next corner. I'll just do 6 single crochets into that large chain 4 space. From here, for round number 5, I'm just going to continue the same way that I've done for that first flat side and the first corner all the way around. And I will meet you at the end of round number 5 to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I've made it back to the beginning of the round. I've got 1 more single crochet to put in there. And now I am going to make sure I've got everything in place. 1 more, I guess. Missed the last one. And now I'm going to join my round with a slip stitch to the top of our chain 1 we started the round with, and I'm gonna pull that stitch through. I'm gonna trim the yarn here, and we will weave in that end, and that is going to be one of our pieces. You have to make 2 of these in order to make the bag that we're making today, but that is how we do a little granny triangle. You can see this one, it's all rumply and sort of warped. I have a second one here that I made prior, and you can see how flat and nice this one is. I still have to add the border to it, but this one's been blocked. So I'm gonna take a minute, pin this, and iron it under a steam setting to flatten it out and block it down. If you're using a natural fiber, I do recommend blocking this. It's gonna make it a nice finished product. And then I'm going to finish the border on the second one, and then we're gonna get started on stitching this together. Isn't that gonna be so fun? Just a cute little triangular bag. I'm excited for it. Okay, I'll be back. All right, here is what we're looking like after both pieces have been blocked under an iron. I've got the ends woven in. There's a little tail here, but here's what they are looking like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch these two together with the open end being at the top, which is going to be the top part of our bag. So we're going to be stitching along these sides. I am going to identify the bottom side. Here's where my round joined together. So I'm going to offset where the round joined together on one piece and the other piece so that we don't have any bulkiness. And we're going to be starting our stitching here, and we're going to stitch down to the corner and then stitch up to the other side. I think I want to do this with blanket stitches. I was thinking originally I was going to do it with crochet, but I think I'll do it with sewing. I've got the yarn needle out. I might as well. So I'm going to just take some of my yarn in the same color as the border, and I'm going to get a good length of it. I think I'll do probably just shy of 2 meters. So like maybe 6 feet. Does that sound reasonable? That's about 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 5.5 feet-ish. But I mean, you might not need that much. I don't know if I need that much. I'd rather have too much though than play yarn chicken for a seam. So I'm gonna thread my yarn needle just like that. And then I am going to connect the yarn here at the corner. I'm not going to put it into the corner stitch. I'm going to put it into the corner single crochet. So we put 6 single crochets into the corner. Let me zoom you in for this. So there's 6 single crochets in this corner. Count out 3 from the edge. So we've got 6 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. The third from the side. That's where we're going to be tying our stitches in together on the front and the back. So 1, 2, 3. Just insert my yarn needle through there and then insert it through there, through both pieces of fabric. And I'll draw it through. I'll try to. I think I might need to get a duller needle because this one won't, it goes between stitches or between bits of yarn. I think I need a dull yarn needle for this so that it'll just pick up between stitches. 1, 2, 3, insert my needle there. 1, 2, 3, insert my needle there. Pull that through, pull it all the way to the end of my strand here, and then I'm just gonna tie this together. I'm gonna be hiding that knot anyway, so don't worry too much about that. And now we're going to do some blanket stitches. So for a blanket stitch, we're going to insert the needle up through the bottom of our work, through that second stitch. We just went through the first stitch. Now we'll go through the second stitch on both pieces of fabric up through like this. Pull that through. There'll be a loop left behind as we pull it through. Here's the loop. And we're going to insert the needle down through that loop like this. Insert down through the loop, and we'll pull that, and then we will pull that nice and tight. And then we'll come up through the next stitch, up through the next stitch on both pieces, pull it through. There's a loop that's left behind, and when we get to that loop, we'll insert the needle down through the loop and pull that. Oh, my black yarn broke. Oh, of course it did. Pull that down, and then we'll pull that nice and tight, just like this. Those are blanket stitches. Now I'm going to continue that all the way across this flat end. I'm just going to insert through, coming from back to front through the stitch, pull that all the way through. There'll be a little loop left behind, and then I'll insert down through that loop. And then I'll pull it nice and tight, and I'll just continue that along the entire flat side. I'll zoom through these blanket stitches because it's just a repeat of the exact same thing all the way down, all the way across until I get to the corner, and I will meet you at the corner to show you what we're gonna do there to get around the corner to put this bag together. I love how blanket stitches look though, so you can definitely single crochet this together if you don't know how to do blanket stitches, or if you don't want to do blanket stitches, you can definitely single crochet this together or even slip stitch it together, but I love the look of a blanket stitch. So I'll zoom through this and I'll meet you at the other corner. All right, I made it to my first corner here, first and only, I think, corner for the bottom of the bag. This is going to be the very bottom of the bag. I'm going to just go around the corner the same way that I did for the side. I'm going to insert the sewing needle into the stitch and have that needle pass through the loop that's left behind to create a blanket stitch. And I'll just do that one time in each stitch around the corner. It's a little bit snug in the corner stitches just because there's a few stitches packed into a small space, but it'll fit, it'll go in, it'll go around. And then I'll just keep going around the work until I get around that corner, and then I'm gonna go up the flat side again, still with these blanket stitches, until I make it up to this top corner here, back to where I'm going to be ending my blanket stitches. So I'm gonna zoom through and I will meet you when I get to the top corner to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I've made it to the top. I have one more stitch to put in here, and now we're gonna put on a strap and we're gonna do some border stitches, and we're gonna just get this thing finished up and put together. I'm gonna weave in this end and then I'll show you what it's looking like. All right, so now that those side seams are done up with that blanket stitch, you can see we've got this little pocket going, kind of like a cute little hat at this point. But we're going to be doing stitches around the top seam here. And then we're gonna also include a strap that's going to go from this side to this side to create a cute little satchel. So I'm gonna go ahead with the same color I did for the seams and for the border, and I'm going to do some single crochets around the top. I'm gonna just connect with a slip stitch. So let me zoom you in for this. I'm gonna insert my hook a couple of stitches before the seam. You can see it's not like a perfect straight line. It's kind of got a bump there, and that is why we're gonna do these single crochets. So I'm gonna insert the hook into one of those single crochet stitches, and then I'm going to pull a loop with my yarn through that stitch. Then I'll drop the tail and chain one, just like that. Then I can pull that tail tight. Then into that same stitch, I'm gonna do a single crochet. And then I'm gonna single crochet in each stitch across. When I get to that spot where the seam is, let me just show you. What I'll do is I will put my last single crochet in the last stitch, and then these two are stitched together here and here. So we'll just skip this one, skip that one, because they are part of the seam, and we'll single crochet into the next straight across stitch. So we'll ignore where the seam is, and we'll do a nice tight single crochet into the next available stitch. See there? So we skipped the part where the seam is and just worked into the next available single crochet. And we're gonna do that at the next seam as well. I'm single crocheting over the tails as well, so I don't have to weave them in after. But for this part, I'm just gonna put one single crochet in each stitch all the way around, skipping where the seam is in order to sort of bridge that gap and cover the sort of bump from where the seam actually is connecting. See how that looks? Now there's no bump there. It's a nice straight line. There's the bump from it being a triangle, but don't worry about that. That'll flatten out. Anyway, I'm just gonna zoom around with my single crochets, and I will meet you back at the beginning of this round to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I've just about made it to the end of the round now with my single crochets, and I'm going to put my last single crochet in here, and then I'll slip stitch to that chain one we started the round with. And now I've got one round of single crochets. I want to do another round because I want to bring this up just a little bit higher. I want this to fit my phone, and if you see, my phone is just a little bit too tall. It's okay, it'll survive it. It's not going to fall out, but I would like just maybe one more round to fit my phone in here. So to do that, I'm going to start with a chain 1 again. I'm going to single crochet into the base of that chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet around. And I think this is going to be our last round of single crochets. I may have to do one more, but I think this is it. And then we're going to be doing some slip stitches around the top. I think I also want to add a little tie so that we can close the purse either with a button or with a little bit of a tie. So I'll think about that while I do this single crochet round, and I will meet you at the end of the round to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I think I need one more round. I'm playing Yarn Chicken, so I'm not really sure how much yarn I'm gonna be able to squeeze out of this tiny ball of yarn, how many rows I can do, but I'm gonna try one more round here. So I've got, after my triangles, I did 1, 2, and I'm doing a third round after putting my triangles together, a third round around the top with the same color that I did the seams with. And then my plan after that, I'm going to attach the color that I used for the actual triangles themselves to do a 4th round in order to bring this side up just a little bit taller. I'm kind of loving what it's doing to the shape. It's kind of turning it into a cone shape now instead of just 2 triangles, and I'm kind of loving it. So I'm gonna zoom through this round. Hopefully I'm gonna have enough yarn in my tiny ball of yarn, and I will win at Yarn Chicken, and I'll meet you at the end of this 3rd round to show you what we're gonna do next. All right, I think I can do it. I think I have enough for one more round. So I'm gonna do my 4th round, hopefully, with this yarn, and then we're gonna connect the other color to do our 5th round, 5th and 6th final rounds. And then this bag is going to be almost done. We just need to do the strap. Oh, gosh, I hope I have enough yarn. I think I have enough yarn. I think it's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. I'm gonna have enough. It's gonna be okay. Oh, Yarn Chicken. Yay, I won at Yarn Chicken. All right, I made it to the end of my round, and now I'm going to do my final round, which will be my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, my 5th and final round. I'm gonna do it with the color I did the bottom triangles with. So I am going to slip stitch the round together, but I am going to use the dark color at the same time. I won at Yarn Chicken. I've trimmed my yarn. Here's all that I have left, which is awesome. And I'm going to insert the hook, yarn over with both the old color and the new color, and slip stitch the round together. And I'm gonna have to weave these ends in because I'm going to be doing a round of slip stitches. At this point, I'm also going to be putting in a buttonhole. So I'm gonna flatten my project out at this point so that I can mark the middle where I'm gonna be putting my buttonhole. I'm going to just basically draw a line from the center up, and this is going to be where my buttonhole goes. So in order to do that, I'm going to start by doing my round of slip stitches until I reach that stitch marker. So just one slip stitch in each of these single crochets until I hit that stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, don't worry about it. You can just mark the middle section with a piece of yarn, or just count halfway through the middle of your triangle and work until you hit that spot. And there we go. And I'm gonna zoom through these slip stitches until I hit that stitch marker. So I will see you when I get there. All right, I've just about made it to my stitch marker here. So I'm going to do a couple more slip stitches. There we go. And now at the stitch marker, what I'm gonna do is I am going to do a single crochet into the stitch with the stitch marker. And then I'm going to do a chain of 10. 1, 2, I'm doing nice tight chains, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to single crochet into the same spot again, just like that. And that's our buttonhole. And then I'm going to continue with my slip stitches until I get back to the beginning of the round, which is just a few stitches away. And then I'm going to join that round with a slip stitch and weave in that end. And I think I won at Yarn Chicken again. Gosh, what a good feeling to win at Yarn Chicken. A little stressful until you win, but once you hit the winning, you're good to go. All right, there's my last stitch of the round. I'm back at the beginning of the round. Here is my end. And now I'm going to just pull this through, and then I'm gonna weave in this end. I'll cut it a little shorter so I don't have as much to weave in. And I'm gonna weave in this here end, and then we're going to get to the straps and putting on a button. All right, here's what our bag is looking like at this point. We've got this little bridge section to bring the triangle up a little bit, and then the nice dark slip stitches and the dark buttonhole. The buttonhole will be on the back and it will flip over to the front side, and we'll put the button right here so that it connects together. I've picked a button from my stash that is brown because I think it looks nice with this. I'm going to get some brown thread that's a little bit thick, like an embroidery floss, to stitch this button down. All right, I've got some dark brown embroidery floss here. Is this my grandma's? Yes, it is. Thank you, Grandma. All right, I'm going to thread up my yarn needle, and then I'm just gonna stitch this button down right in the center, close to the top, kind of right in between the light section of my bag. And I'll just start by pulling up a thread and then tying it down so that it's got a nice secure spot. And once that's tied down, I'll have it come up through the button, and then I'll just quickly stitch this button down so that it is nice and secure just across from where our buttonhole is. All right, and there's how it's looking with the button on. The buttonhole is keeping it nice and tightly closed, and that looks awesome. Now it's time to make some straps. Ooh, that buttonhole is snug. That'll have to stretch out over time. That's fine. It's gonna be great. So I did make a strap ahead of time, but I'm gonna talk you through how I did it so that you can make one too. I did a chain stitch of 150. After that, I slip stitched into the second chain from the hook and slip stitched down the entire chain. That creates this thick cord, which is what I was going for this bag. So I'll show you how to do it on a shorter scale. You start with a slip stitch. Then you chain as many as you want for as long as the strap you want. For me, that was 150 chains. So I'll show you with a chain of about 10. So then you'll have a chain. Then in the second chain from the hook, 1 and 2, create a slip stitch. Sorry about the birds, they're feeling chatty. And then we'll slip stitch down the entire chain. Just one slip stitch in each chain stitch all the way down. And that creates a nice thick cord that is thicker than just a slip stitch for a strap, but thinner than something like a single crochet. Creates a really nice texture for a strap. And that's what I did here. To attach the strap, I'm going to use the remainder of my brown embroidery floss. What I'm going to do to sort of stretch out my use though is I'm going to split the floss in half so that it's 3 strands instead of 6 strands. That way I have an even number of thread for each side of the strap. This bag does not need to be able to carry very much weight because it's going to really only be used to hold a phone, maybe some credit cards or something like that. What I'm going to do to attach the strap is I'm going to flatten the bag out so I can see the seam on the side. Then visually draw a line up to the top of the work where the seam is. Then I'll stick my strap so that it's sticking about 1 inch in. We want the strap to basically connect to where the seam is and then go all the way up to the edge of the bag, just like that. Then I'll thread my yarn needle and I'm going to just stitch that down, just where I was talking about. So I'm going to line it up again to the edge of the work, or to the edge of the light fabric, to the edge of my triangle, and I'm going to stitch it all the way up to the top of the work. So I'll just pick up a stitch and I will tie that first piece down just so that it's secured. You don't have to use embroidery floss. If you've got regular thread, that's going to do just great. This is just what I've got on hand that matches the work. All right. There we go. And now I'm going to do blanket stitches again. So I'm going to come up with the thread through the work from bottom to top. And then with the loop that's left, I'll insert the needle down through that loop, just like that. Then I'll go up through the work, through the strap and through the bag. The loop that's left behind, I'll insert the needle down through that loop, pulling it tight. I'll just do that all the way up the strap until I get to the top. Once I get to the top of the work, I'm going to put a couple of extra tack stitches, just like what I'm doing, up at the top in order to secure that top section so it doesn't separate. I feel like I just said top a bunch of times. People in a fire in the Bronx last night. Where there was a fire in the Bronx. People died in the fire last night. That's what that was giving. All right, now that we've got the first side done up, I've turned the bag over and I'm gonna do the same thing going down the other side. So I'll just pick up some thread on the bag and then pick up some thread on the strap and just stitch it down. And I'm gonna just keep doing stitches until I run out of thread because I want this strap to be well secured to the bag. And it doesn't need to be, like I said, it doesn't need to carry a huge amount of weight because the strap is only going to be used to hold the weight of a couple of things, but I still want it to stick long term. So I'm just gonna go around, finish my blanket stitches like this, and then once my blanket stitches are done, which tacks the strap flat down to the bag, as you can see here, after that, I'm gonna just do a bunch of running stitches through the bag and through the strap, just to add a little bit more structure, a little bit more security. And after I finish with this first strap, I'm gonna go back and do the exact same thing on the other side to the second strap in order to connect it to the bag and finish our bag project off. After I finish putting on this second strap, from there I will weave in my ends. And then it's finished. Ta-da! What do you think? I love this. I am definitely going to be using this. I love the shape. I think it's so cute. The little button, adorable. So I added these straps on. They're all done now. We've sewn them on. The buttonhole is a little snug because it just is. But this fits my phone, and then I can do up the button so that my phone will not fall out while I'm out. Well, I can try to do up the button. There we go. Fits my phone, which is awesome. It's got this long strap so that it can go crossbody, which is the way I like to wear most of my little satchels like this. It's got holes in it, so I would say this is not something that is going to be useful when you're holding tiny items that could fall through them, but for your gift cards or your debit card or your credit card, it's gonna hold it just fine. I love that triangular shape. I think this came out so cute. The button really adds a little bit of extra finishing to it, and I love the long strap. I'm a big fan of the long crossbody satchel. If you check out my channel, you'll notice I have several other tutorials for long crossbodied satchels, some small ones, some big ones. Oh my god, this is so difficult. There we go. I think that turned out amazing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below for this adorable little triangular bag. I think it came out awesome. Wow. If you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. Join us on this journey of making all of the crocheted items. We also do natural dye here. We do all other kinds of fiber arts. So check out other videos if you're interested in getting to know the channel a little bit better. Don't forget to click the like button on the video. It helps the channel grow. I would really appreciate that. And thank you to everyone who is supporting the channel this month. Here is the list of channel supporters. You guys are awesome. If you would like to show your support for the channel as well, check the links in the description box down below. All the ways to support, as well as all related tutorials, will be linked down below. Anyways, friends, that is all I've got for you today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye!